Void.
Here tonight, this afternoon, it's going to be a wild one as we get set to welcome a brand new track to the Classic Indycar Series roster. Welcome to Oregon for its debut for open wheel action here on Green Flag TV. My name is Ola Ramble alongside Gary Godso. We welcome race fans one and all back to the Butt Kicker Classic Indycar Series, the VRS Classic Indycar Series presented by Butt Kicker. Boy, what a race this is going to be this afternoon. 110 laps and slated, Gary, to be one of the longest road course races that this league has ever fielded, with 110 laps on the board this afternoon. It's going to be a long one, and I think no better way to welcome a new track onto the calendar.
It's always good to have another track added back to iRacing, but specifically an IndyCar track, because this is what the bread and butter of this track has always been. I know it kind of got added because of NASCAR and because of NASCAR coming here, but this was an IndyCar first tracks going back to 1984. Now, these cars that we're watching today never specifically raced here. The IR05, IR09 never raced here The last we saw of the kart series was the Champ Car World Series, and then there was about 11-year hiatus between the last Champ Car race here and the first IndyCar current series race in 2018. So when you watch the race later this season, the DW12s or the IR18s that are running in the IndyCar series is more contemporary to what you expect to see here. But it is very cool that the organizers of the league, Robert and those guys, decided to make this race on Father's Day weekend. Traditionally, that was always when the race was held back in the early and mid 80s. And in fact, one of the most famous finishes in all of IndyCar history happened here in 1996. Michael Andretti was leading on the white flag lap and ran out of fuel coming out of the final turn 12. And who happened to be behind him to take advantage of that situation? Well, it would be his father, Mario Andretti, who beat him by 7 thousandths of a second at the line, with Michael kind of coasting home under no power. And once again, at the interview, Michael basically said, "Happy Father's Day, Dad. You're not going to get another one like that ever again." So as one of the more famous road course finishes and one of the most famous finishes in all of IndyCar history happened right here, and it happened on Father's Day weekend. So it's good to have an IndyCar race on Father's Day weekend here. I don't know if we'll have a close finish that as we did, but that would just add a cherry to the top of the cake, I think.
Well, look over the championship standings, entering racing action today. Cameron Dance and Thomas Boussanin have closed the gap down to just 3 points among them. And, of course, this comes after big dramas over at the Milwaukee Mile 2 weeks ago. Remember, Boussanin was not present at that race, and Cameron Dance found himself crashing out of the race less than 10 laps in. So while the battle for the points lead may have only shifted around in very small margins, it's everybody else been close on them. Boussanin and the Dance have, about a 30-point gap on third place on down. Now, that gap is under 10 as Logan Sims has been brought right back into the fold.
Yeah, and Logan, this is one of the races that Logan just kind of wants to get through. He admits that he's not much of he is not as good of a road course racer. I don't want to downspeak him any because the guy is very talented. But he admits he's more of a oval racer rather than a road course racer. So he just kind of wants to survive the day and do as best he can on points. But this really kind of runs into the wheelhouse of Boussanin, who is at the top of the charts right now in warm-ups. And I would expect that this is, kind of going to be his race to lose, knowing how good he is on road courses.
So, of course, we're going to need to see how Simmons is going to pan out. Of course, Jimmy Wilson still in that fierce fight with Johnny Garrett and Andrew Wood for number 4 in the championship standings as well. And all of this, as we get set to battle our way deeper into racing action in this 2025 campaign. Well, we are moments away from getting the starting grid rolling on out here this afternoon for the Portland International Raceway, as this 5-minute warm-up session will draw to a close. And well, with that, it is just about high time. Have a take a look on how everything's going to pan on out here for this 110 lapper. Again, very, very long race this afternoon, and it's going to be one to remember, I think, for this league. It's always history-making when you get a race for the first time in a new league, and, well, this is going to be one of those days, right? It's going to be one to remember for sure. We'll take a rundown of that starting grid now, as it is going to be none other than Thomas Boussanin for Iconic Motorsports, started on pole position, just 4,000th of a second off of him. His Team Watson Racing's Ethan Aiken. Row number 2 then, holding the likes of Orbit Drop Air Motorsports' Cameron Dance. Crashed out last week, looking for more. Third place runner of the points, Logan Simmons, hot on his heels, is down in 4th with row 3. Holding Joshua Fortune, making his first start of the season this afternoon for the AECO Digitech Dallara IR05, alongside series founder Robert Grosjean for Vortex Sim Racing. Row 4 then holds Power Slide Team Chimera driver Andrew Wood, alongside Julian Altena for Velocity Online Racing out of the Netherlands. And then, of course, it is Cesare Manzado for North Sim Racing in 9th, alongside Lucas Santos for Screeching Moose Motorsports.
Jan Hoppen and Jamie Wilson are back on row 6. We got VJO and Sam Winton on row 7. And then we're moving on back. We got Sturm and Mellis back on row 8. We have Zachary Wareham. I believe this might be his first start in the series, back on row 9 with Giacometti. And back on row 10, we have Aiken and Rafi Rodriguez rounding out the top 20.
From there, it's Alexander McBean for Usagi Racing down to 21st. Matthias Ezekiel, Mark Abini down in 22nd. 23rd place holds Sebastian Kinder alongside Johnny Garrett. Both drivers not putting down qualifying laps. It is the same story for Eric's contender, Robert Barnical. So 25 cars rolling out here this afternoon. And again, names to keep eyes on for. One of them being Joshua Fortune, right, making his first start of the season, possibly of his career this afternoon for the number 36 entry. We'll get more information on that shortly here. Of course, Sam Winton made his first start just last race. He's looking for more. And then, of course, as he mentioned, Zachary Wareham, the Canadian, will have to start his race from pit road after he missed the call. He, of course, is pretty big on the stock car scene over for other various leagues that we broadcast over here on Green Flag TV. Most notably, we saw him last Friday for the Bolt Racing League with their Lightning Series on Friday night. So, of course, Wareham's been around the bush for a little bit, and now we can see the field pacing and ready to rumble.
Wareham getting a little bit of reconnaissance in the Indycars before we see the stock cars take to Portland later this season.
As we see the weather conditions for this racetrack as well. Virtually no wind in the air, but boy, with it being in Oregon here in the early months of summer, it is hot out there. 38 degrees Celsius, that is 101 degrees Fahrenheit on the racetrack. Before we go racing here, anybody you got picked as a favorite to win here this afternoon, Gary?
I'm not going to go too much further than what we see in the first couple of rows. I think it's Thomas's race to lose, and I think that Cameron Dance is going to race him to the bitter end here. And let's not forget about Ethan Agan doing so well in this series, and also the the IndyCar iRacing series in the IR18, which is majority road courses. He should be a one to watch as well. So I'm going to stay up at the front of the pack watching those guys.
Well, the field is going to work their way through turn numbers 3 and 4. As always, we're happy you're joining us for more racing action here on this fantastic Sunday afternoon, you could say as well. The field's going to work their way to the restart zone. And for the first time in Oregon, it's time to go, go, go! A great getaway from Mooson on the jump down to turn number 1. Cameron Dance trying to follow suit with him. Goes around the outside of Egan to pick off the spot. And so far, oh, there goes Altena. Altena going to spin it around. Other than that, looking like a queen opening a couple of quarters.
And there's lining up now for the festival curves. Typically hold this race during the Rose Festival for the city. Oh, and a big dive in there by Cameron. A good passing zone there, now down the backstretch.
You see that field still fighting, still scrapping it out. As you take a look at some of the speed shots coming down the hill. Turn 9 and 10. This is going to be one of the treacherous ones on the afternoon. Cannot underestimate that right-left flick. It'll catch you with the best of drivers out going. Double 5 in there. Virtually suicidal in these types of racing cars.
And that last series of curbs right there through, so 10, 11, 12, very, very fast. And look how much Cameron just really closed up there on the exit of the chicane into the festival curves.
Big lunge in as Stefan Mellis and Rafi Rodriguez trying to fight it out with one another. Rodriguez trying to go around the outside at turn 3. Or I think that may actually be turn 4 as he's able to pick off the spot from the number 23 entry. So one of the Bounty Hunter Double X cars started to drop back early in this one. You want to talk about guys on the move right now. Aitken and Rodriguez both up 4 on the day so far. Jamie Wilson thought about having an attack on Lucas Santos coming down to the turns 9 and 10. Thought better of it, though, as awarded on straightaway. Santos is sideways off of the final corner, got hung up on the curbing, and that should be an easy move made for Wilson down to turn 1. As Santos gonna go in deep, overshoots. One car is sideways up the road. And in fact, that is Wilson's teammate, Andrew Wood. So Andrew Wood gonna drop down 1 here as the field is gonna look to cycle through.
Yeah, there's everyone very much still learning the place. And again, this is not a very common car and track combo. This car did not race here for real. So Anybody that has had time in the car, which would have been during the, I know that the Velocity Online Racing IR18 series raced here. If you raced in that, or if you raced in the IndyCar Open Series on the official iRacing leagues, they raced here for a kind of a sprint race. Go ahead.
Altena made a pass into turn number 9 as Johnny Garrett caught the wall, and that could have been a pretty nasty incident. Take a look back here at Altena making this pass.
Julian's trying to make up some time, and he's trying to make passes normally where this is actually a passing zone down here, but yeah, bouncing off the wall is not a good way to insure confidence with your fellow driver next to you. Yeah, the IR18 is really the only IndyCar series that has a great deal of time here, and that was a race in the Velocity Online Racing Series and in the official IndyCar Open Series. But those are the only 2 league races that I know that have been here. I do. Julian again, and he collects a car. Giacometti.
Cometti going to go off the road. Tough break for the driver of the number 38 entry. Doesn't look like he's got too much damage. I think he may have just gotten away with that, but boy, that is going to be a frustrating matter for Cometti to contend with.
A wheel bang there. And here in a couple of weeks, the IndyCar iRacing Series, this will be on the schedule, and they will do a full-length race here, so we'll see it again. But yeah, these cars, I bet you they got their hands full in these cars. These cars, we talked about it before on road courses. They turn like pigs, and this is a very twisty course here, very narrow, not very fast. About the fastest spot you're going to get right back down here in the backstretch before they come into the braking zone for a 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then at the end of the front stretch, which is actually a part of the drag strip here at Portland International Raceway.
And of course, an 8-mile drag strip that sits just off of the final corners. As you see, Altena making a move on Rodriguez. So Altena continuing to drive his way up through the field as Rodriguez. You ride aboard him through the 9-10 complex, and there is the end zone to the drag strip, just on the other side of that tire bundle there as you work your way down the front straightaway. Drag racing. You reckon drag racing is something that RC might ever dabble in?
I'm not a super big drag racing fan. I like how the series is all up in arms about the slogan. Oh, car slow in the back straight. Ethan Agan gets a pass on, who was that? Cameron Dance. Looks like he might have cut the course and had to slow down.
So a pass with the number 2 spot. This is how it was facilitated as Dance, as he just picked up the throttle. Yep, got hung up on the curbing. Oh, good save, though.
Good save. Just a little loose there under acceleration. Very common in these cars. Low in torque. But no, not much of a drag race fan. I do find it funny, though, that the NHRA is up in arms about the slogan that Fox gave IndyCar racing. Relax, guys. You need to be a little bit more secure than that. But other than that, no. Although I know it's a big it's a big economic boost to Indianapolis because the Nationals are here. But I've never ever been to a drag race event.
Rafael Rodriguez and Johnny Garrett both making their way to pit road, looking like they may have had a collision as a result of an incident between the two of them. They are both right now stranded with meatball flags, and this may be the reason. Oh boy, well that's in progress. So back this up just a little bit more. Looking like this started with Johnny Garrett of the RX number 68, and oh, not even that. It started with Rodriguez.
Yeah, just innocently drove into the zone there and smacks the side of Rafi.
Looked like he checked up to avoid going into the back of Aiken just in front of him. And you see as well, the car right ahead of these guys just barely slipped through there. That was, I think, Alexander McBean.
Yeah, McBean threading the needle, getting one by. And again, if I haven't got a chance to say it to everyone, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, all the grandfathers, all the new fathers, all the fathers-to-be. Happy Father's Day. Hope you're having a restful day.
Jan Hoffman and VJO both spinning off the road, 2 self-spins. coming out of turn 3, and in both cases just picked up too much of the throttle and lost the tail end. So attrition settling in earlier this afternoon, and a lot of the kind of bigger battle packs, we already see them getting a bit split apart.
Car off into the VJO. No, that wasn't. Maybe it was VJO off into the grass. A little bit further on back.
Rafael Rodriguez has crashed on pit road.
Oh, goodness.
How in the world have you done that? He got a black flag, and not sure how in the heck you managed to pull that off.
He punches out. That's just a frustrating afternoon right there.
This is on board. This is right when you see him get into gear there, so he's about to leave his stall. Makes his way on out. I don't know what to say.
I think he just kept it in first gear, and then when the torque range finally got to to where the really makes the wheels spin, I think the wheels took off, and I mean you could do it even with the limiter engaged. Looks like it might as well what happened.
Well, I don't even know if he did that, because, I mean, he was fine, and then he hooked the wheel hard right, put it into the inside pit wall, and then jerked the wheel back left to spin her out into the outside pit wall. I don't see any logic behind any kind of the movements he made there. It definitely didn't look like it stepped around him. He had full control until he hooked himself. Behind them, Stefan Mellis and Andrew Aitken now going to go side by side to the scrap for 15th, and Mellis takes that spot away to the inside of the number 27. And around goes Aitken. Spins her off, does keep it out of the fence.
Easy to do. Yeah, so easy to do here. We're going to see lots of this today.
And here's a fight. Look at Cesare Manzano thinking about a look to the inside of Robert Groscher. Couldn't quite get the nose in there. But he is going to make it relatively secure. Do fast lap of the race, by the way. And are we surprised with who said it?
Actually, no, not at all. I mean, it's who you totally would expect to. And also keep in mind that those that are setting the lap there, and that was Mustanen, who just turned a 59.1. That would be, a result of having clean racetrack in front of him.
Ethan Hagen goes for a slide in turn 1, like we've seen many do already, and that is what puts Cameron Dance back up in a second, and that puts Ethan Hagen within striking distance now of both Logan Simmons and Joshua Fortuné. Confirming, by the way, this is Fortune's debut race this afternoon. He has not run in the Classic IndyCar Series race before. This is the first time we've seen this number 36 car on track.
He's definitely having good fortune today because he's up to 5th. He started 5th, is 5th, hanging tough. And, again, these cars are very, very tough to drive. And the fact that we're, a couple of, more than a couple laps into this, we're 12 laps into this thing, that the tires definitely are getting hot and getting worn. This is a very narrow racetrack, a new racetrack, that the fact that he can hang tough with Logan Simmons, one of the points leaders, right in front of him, Ethan Hagen, also one of the points leaders, says an awful lot about the ability of Joshua Fortune. So we shall keep an eye on him as this race progresses.
You know who else we might want to keep an eye on? Julian Altena. I thought Boosted was going to hold that lap for a little while. Dance took it away at the end of the last lap, and then Julian Altena from 14th, make it 13th now, was able to actually take the fastest lap as well. So Altena is putting down that pace, and he is right now one of the fastest cars out there on the racetrack.
He does have laps around this course in another car, of course, in his own league. The Velocity Online Racing IndyCar Championship had a race here, so he has experience here. Albeit in another car with slightly different downforce, a car that's more capable of driving on road courses than these guys.
So he is in a scrap right now with Jan Hoffman. This is for 12th place on the road. Altena's won a pretty good recovery drive as well. Remember, he spun early on, dropped down 13 spots. He's now only down 5. So he's already recovered 8 of those positions since that incident on lap number 1. So Altena is he's slowly picking guys off and showing he still has the base to scrap it out here. And we might see the Chimera teammates go out of here down the back straight.
Yeah, side by side coming into the braking zone. They're going to make that a little bit easier for each other to not lose a lot of time. So Wood gets the position over his teammate Wilson. Wilson looks like kind of handed it off, and so they're going to try to run down the front straight. Meanwhile, coming into the Manzato, into the braking zone with Groscher going into the chicane.
Such a narrow piece of racetrack, that final corner. I mean, you can see it's barely wide enough for one of these cars to go through, and I think that kind of highlights, right? I mean, these cars might not be the biggest race cars in the world, but they are by no means the smallest. This is still some pretty sizable cars when you put them on a much tighter racing surface like what we got here.
The cars themselves aren't very wide, but you look how much wider those rear tires stick out over the body fairings there. So the tires, when you throw the tires on, actually adds a couple inches to each side of the car to make it a little bit wider. And then when you have a narrow racetrack, those inches become precious real estate, really, because it helps kind of throw those cars off behind you, because they might not be able to do a full send into that corner because of how tight everything is. But the front stretch, nice and wide.
Nice and wide of the course, that is partially due to the drag strip that is over there behind this field as we continue to scrap our way out this afternoon. There we see Robert Groscher, and Groscher starting to be a bit of a cork in the bottle here. He's got a Q starting to form up here as the Vortex Simmers number 99. At first was just battled with Manzada, but now Wood, Wilson, Santos all get into the mix, and no one here is separated by more than 7/10.
Groscher's doing a really good job here. He started 6th, runs and 6th, so he hasn't lost any ground. But they are getting bottled up a little bit behind him. We got Manzato right behind him. They've been battling the last couple of laps and now sneaking into the picture. We got Wood. Santos getting around Jamie Wilson on the outside.
It's a very bold move to make, isn't it? That is that takes some gusto to pull off, and I think that kind of shows again. Santos is here to party.
His car is set up pretty well, because on the outside there, that is not an ideal passing zone. Very opportunistic, and he pulls it off. Also a little bit of a racecraft there by Jamie, thinking, at this point in the race, we're 16 laps in, guy on the outside, I might just let him have it, and then let me try to run him back down.
Oh, well, there we go. He might get it here, and Santos bobbles big time off the curbing. And Jamie Wilson will now be able to drive right to the tail end, trying to get that over-under as he works to the back straightaway. Will he get the drive that he needs? Down the back straightaway, well into the slipstream. Don't think he's going to be able to get there this time by down the back straightaway, although I say that, might try and pull up on a identical move, couldn't get the job done.
That would have been very, very bold if he managed to pull that off.
Behind the field here, Zachary Wareham getting around Rob Barnicow, as Barnicow, I think, had it off. So we got fights all the way down the field as well. There is Moosen already getting past these guys, and Barnicow, in fact, going to let Sebastian Kinder as well. Likely had a slowdown, but he was struggling to serve. And then don't forget, this scrap for 6th is still hot, and now Manzato is fully in the mix.
And going back to this, we got Sam Winton, also Julian getting around Winton. Julian's getting into this battle, so it's Julian, Winton, Hoffman on close proximity on the racetrack. Hoffman to the inside of Winton, going down the backstretch. Now into the braking zone. Winton holds on. Julian spins off, and he's going to the wall. Oh, day done.
Oh, boy. Well, bad to worse for Julian Altena. Was on a good recovery drive, but sometimes it's not meant to be. Will Jan Hoffman make the look here on Sam Winton now into turn 1? Yes, he will. Makes a peek. Interestingly enough, he decides against it, though. I thought for sure he was going to commit. He definitely was close enough to do so.
Over over the years, the chicane there has been reprofiled. Originally not part of the race course. When IndyCar first came here as the kart series in 84, excuse me, they had to add to that because the cars were screaming down into turn 1, which was the old turn 1, now current turn 4. And, well, there's kind of no kitty litter there. There's nothing to catch the car. If it slides off, it goes right into the grass and then right into the tire barrier. And they thought that was dangerous, so they added that mid-straight chicane that's kind of slowed the cars down, and it's been there ever since. There's Jan Hoppen to the inside, and turn 12 coming out of the corner. He's going to have a shot down on the inside of Winton. Nope, Winton is going to have the high momentum and a little bit of a draft aid from Robert.
Grosjean went off in turn 11. Hoppen uses that to his advantage as he tries to swing round the outside of 2. Kicks the tail end out on the throttle. Sam Winton trying to drive back to him, just not able to get a run going, and still Winton retains. But you talk about the front stretch chicane. I believe for stock car race, I know at least in the ARCA Menard series they do this, they still bypass that front straight chicane exclusively on the first lap of the race due to the tight profile to ensure that everybody can get through turn 1 cleanly, and then you use that chicane for every lap thereafter.
Not a bad idea with the cars that are a little bit slower, and that allows them to get organized instead of doing a full send down into turn 1 and then piling them on up. But the IndyCars unfortunately have to navigate that turn 1, lap 1 every single race.
We'll take a look back here first on what happened to Julian Altena. This is coming down towards turn number 9 and 10. And he's just going to go spinning off the road, clip the curbs off and big time into the fence, and kind of got just punted in there. Then this, just a lap later, was Robert Grosjean in the same corner. This is how he lost 6th.
Yeah. And he wisely, had slowed down, wasn't trying to turn while at full speed in the grass. Waited to get some grip, keep it out of the tire barrier, get it back on the racetrack, and pick back up as best you can to minimize the loss. Did a good job there.
Meanwhile, behind them, Grosjean, Winton, Hoffman, all of them also under a pretty hefty blanket as it stands. And you can see how much Hoffman has been desperate to try and find a solution for Sam Winton, but Winton has just been doing such a great job on playing defense here. Hoffman just can't find an in.
And remember, no push the pass here, no different tire compounds, but this is straight up racing, no gimmicks. And Winton's doing a fantastic job.
He really is. Winton has been absolutely on it so far all race long, and you can tell how much this is frustrating Jan Hoffman as he looks left, looks right, trying to find a way through. You wonder how much Robert Grosjean trying to help out his teammate there. Now they're going to be side by side as they make their way down the back straightaway here. Winton going to have to go defensive into turn 9, and Hoffman forced to back out on the approach.
Good job. Great. Winton is up 4 spots from where he started, so he is more than racing and holding his own right now. He has raced to this position, and he's holding off one of the longtime veterans of this series, Jan Hoffman.
So all of this with the pit stop window looming as well, anticipated window 36 to 39 laps, and if you and I were speculating right before we went live here as well, Gary, if these guys pit on 36 and 72, they'd have to save a couple laps of fuel, so drivers will have to look to try to stretch it down to realistically 38 or 39 on all stints if they want to be able to make it safely to the end.
Yeah, the further you could go past 36, the better. But the minimum, we think, is 36 with the fuel save to get to the end. But I would thinking that everyone's probably tried that out and might have already adjusted themselves to what the pace is going to be here, and might have ruled out. And here we go, Jan, big run coming off of 12 here on the inside of Winton, with the draft aid of his teammate, but not able to pull him alongside. Winton, a good launch off the corner again. Here comes Hoffman. He's going to full send it into the chicane. Oh, they bounce off the wheels, and there's a car off. I think that might be Stung.
No, that's Barnacal. That's off.
Barnacal.
Right behind them. Hoffman, though, finally able to complete the move, but it was not without contact.
Elbows out. Yeah, but so I would say everyone, 36 might be a bit opportunistic for first stops unless you have a problem. I think 37, 38 is more optimal windows will open up, so we'll see. We'll see there.
Checking into the fight for 6th. While Groscher's not involved, that does not mean that Wood and Manzato have been able to break away at all from each other. Cesare Manzato closing in, and in fact, going to go for the dive, this time into turn number 1. Andrew Wood able to hang that one round the outside of 1, secures the spot. And Lucas Santos picks up one as Franzo. In fact, that time it is Stum off the road. So all the while, the fight for 6th remains on here between Wood and Manzato. And right now, this is one of the closer fights on the racetrack. And again, it's not going to go away anytime soon if Manzato's got anything to say about it.
Good exit. You're getting good traction and acceleration out of that final corner down the long straight. Manzato might take a peek here.
Not quite yet, but boy, they're not far away, are they?
He's definitely letting Andrew know, I'm there. And we're about just on the outside of 10 laps here before we start seeing possible first stops.
Kind of comparing the last few laps here, it does look like Manzato is definitely the quicker of these two. He's just, again, he just can't find a way to get through him.
It's the old saying, you can catch the guy in front of you, but can you pass the guy in front of you? And they've reached some slower traffic in the form of Andrew Aiken, who had a bit of an off earlier in the race and is kind of recovering from that. He's just going to hold his line, try to be predictable. Andrew goes to the inside of him now, going into the turn 1 chicane. He breaks a little early to lift the 2 leaders on by, and what a round!
Well, that's going to put a quick end to that fight as Manzato sneaks through, and I mean, credit to, I don't think that was anything that Aiken did wrong there. I think Wood just psyched himself out.
No, I don't think Aiken did anything wrong there. And fortunate for Wood that when he was able to re-enter the racetrack, it was in front of his teammate, so his teammate's going to give him a little time to recoup and recover. Seb Kinder taking a slower line to the inside, letting the faster traffic on by. Meanwhile, up front, man, Stanton has pushed his way out to a 10-second lead.
10 seconds, and it is likely going to be even further. He has already lapped all the way up to 12th place runner Lucas Santos as well. So once again, like you say, right, it is his race to lose, and just like we usually see, Cameron Dance just nowhere in sight.
Not without lack of trying. I'm sure Cameron is pushing as best he can with the pace that he anticipated. And maybe at this point, maybe Cameron's kind of hoping, okay, I got second secured. I have a pretty decent gap over Aiken.
Oh, no. Lucas Santos is towed to pit road. He's had a crash.
Oh, no. Yeah, indeed. Let's see what happened here.
This is coming around through, oh, boy. Just lost her on corner exit. And I think he just decided to call it quits. Yep, sure did.
This might turn into a race where it turns into a bit of a tough day, a bit of a drive to survive.
Yeah, it has not been. Oh, and now we got another one.
That is car off. Wareham is off in the festival curves.
Zachary Wareham, the Canadian, going to go off the road with that number 98 entry here. Tough luck for Wareham, as he has just not had the debut he may have been hoping for. But, I mean, hey, credit to him. He's sticking it out on this Father's Day weekend. While Mustang continues to pull away. Look at all the damage on the rear wing that Robert Barnicow's got from his prior incidents, right? I mean, that is not ideal, putting it mildly. And I think he actually may be forced to let a bunch of cars through.
Yeah, he's letting a bunch of cars there through turn 7. Turn 7's been reprofiled since Indycar's return here, had to give him an extra bit of a passing zone there. But back in the case of Wareham here, you know, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it, right? So he's out there learning. And I will admit, for these Indy cars, even the IR05s, the learning curve is pretty steep.
Sebastian Kinder may have had a moment, as he is now with a meatball flag. Oh boy, and that is a big snap on the exit of the final corner, and that is going to put him out of the race.
That is a big tank slapper up against the wall, and if that doesn't destroy the tail end of your car, I don't know what does. And I think he felt it immediately and decided to just tow. Our leader is lapped up to P11 now already, only 30 laps into this race.
The boy Sam Winton again has just been on an absolute tear of it so far, as he continues to try and pick off cars one at a time. Meanwhile, Jamie Wilson now being swallowed up by Andrew Hoffman here, and Andrew Wood is at risk as well, just up the road if Hoffman can get around the teammate.
That's the closest battle on the racetrack, really. We're kind of spread out now. Wood, Wilson, and Hoffman. This is where Al Unser Jr. got his first career IndyCar win right here at Portland. He had 3 wins here at Portland. Michael Andretti has 3 wins. He won here 3 in a row from 90 to 92. Michael could have had 4, but Dad said no. Dad took one of those away. Oh, big twitch there by, that's Wilson. Letting Hoffman on by.
Gathered it up, so he didn't lose too much time. Good recovery on that one. Those, that type of snap oversteer has a big tendency to kind of go a little bit haywire. Meanwhile, Zachary Wareham has had issues. Solo car
into the festival curves, and it just comes on around.
Yep, just caught that curve, and that's all she wrote.
Drives through the grass to get back to the other part of the race course. Portland is the only racetrack I have ever been to, road course racetrack I've ever been to, and I don't count the Roval at Indianapolis. That does not count. The infield road course does not count as going to a road course in Indianapolis. But we got family in the Portland area, and I went to one of the races. Let's see, Jill DeFerrin was racing for Walker Racing still, and he got a big win there early in his career. And I sat festival seating in the festival curves there, kind of like a big picnic. You just find a spot that you want to stake out, throw down a towel, and that, you know, kind of becomes your spot for the next couple of hours while the cars race.
We see the 96 car down the pit road now, so looking like VJO now is potentially had. Oh, that's identical to what we just saw. Just a wicked tank slapper out of the final corner and goes around and into the wall.
Yeah, try just to push as hard as possible coming off that final corner to get a big run down the front stretch. But it's kind of like the final corner out of Watkins Glen a little bit, and then all of a sudden, when you get to the exit of the corner, there's a big cement wall there, and you see people smack it all the time. Much the same case here at Portland.
Well, the field going to continue to scrap it out with one another here, and it is, again, not looking like it is going to be going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, these fights have just been absolutely on top of it so far. So Andrew Wood, Jan Hoff, and Jamie Wilson still the big trio to watch. Robert Groscher also still close with Sam Winton, and Gio Cometti started to get more and more into the fray as well, as he is slowly starting to run down Franz Josef Stum just up the road, although he does have Logan Simmons trying to lap them both.
Best place for how to avoid that traffic. Logan gets on by. Giacometti around Stum to move Giacometti up to 13th, Stum 14th.
Now Wood and Hoffman going to look to go at it again. So the fight for 7th and 8th is on. And meanwhile, the first pit stop window is just a little ways off the mark. We are officially in the fuel window. If drivers can save another couple laps, they should be good to, we think, hit a fuel number that might be able to get them to the end on a second stop if they can match the stint.
Exactly, and so they're right there at that window right now. So 36 would require a fuel save. 37 could get you there. 38 more than likely gets you there. And then 39, faux show, gets you there. The list of winners in IndyCar history kind of reads like a who's who list of who has wins here. Of course, I mentioned Al Jr. has 3, Mario has 2, Emerson has 2, Zanardi has 2, Jill DeFerrin has 2, Cristiano D'Amata, that's a name we don't talk about awful lot in IndyCar history. Former champion before going to F1. He has 2 wins here. Sebastian Bourdais has 2 wins here. And in more contemporary times, Will Power, who won here and is your defending series champion, I believe. He won here last year. He has 2 wins here. And Alex Palou, to nobody's surprise, especially with the way the Palou's been dominating in his current IndyCar season, he has 2 wins here. So look forward to when IndyCar returns here later in the season with the NTT IndyCar season schedule.
Race leader Thomas Buchanan is in the pit road right on cue. So is friend Josef Stum. Andrew Aitken is in just behind. So very much a time for pit stops here, as we're going to be looking to see a bunch of cars coming in.
And this is where these guys hopefully have done some cold tire practice because we've already seen a number of cars, remember early in this race with the colder or newer tires, get a lot of wheel spin with the low torque range of these cars. So we'll see if he can come up to speed, bring those tires up to speed and temperature without any issues. So he's kind of in that danger zone at the moment until those tires come up to temp.
Now the fight going to keep on here. Most of the field opted to stay out for one more lap, as in fact Giacometti making a pass on Stefan Mellis, and Mellis may have had a momentary off here.
Cameron Dance coming to pit road, scheduled stop. So Cameron decided to go one extra lap. And also, I think he got credit for leading the lap there, too. Ethan Agan, I think, is staying out. So he's going to get credit for leading the lap. Fortune coming to pit road. So Agan staying out, Logan Simmons staying out for an extra lap. And this is, again, just making this race a little bit easier for them, where they can push late in that last stint where they don't have to worry about a fuel save. Fortune down and away, Manzato down and away. Seeing Robert Groscher coming down into his stall. Jamie Wilson with a stop right now, looks scheduled. He's down and away. Ethan Agan coming in. Logan Simmons coming in, that's a team call. And right behind them is...
That would be Giacometti in as well.
Giacometti with a scheduled stop. So that will turn the lead over to Mustanen, who there he is on the front straight, going by everybody.
Andrew Wood will come into pit road this time as well. So does Jan Hoffman. Pretty much everyone coming down to pit road this time by. I think we have officially hit the end of the field.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the first stint is officially done. I'm showing everybody at least with one stop now, or at least on pit road. So now we begin the run to the next stint. Now this current course that they run, IndyCar measures at 1.967. Kart, when they ran here, raced a slightly different configuration that they measured at 1.969. But this is not a very big road course. Traffic in front of our leader at the moment.
That is the number 17 entry of Sam Winton, who came out of pit road right in front of him. Critical thing to note here, Cameron Dance now, what the gap was up to 10 seconds, it's down to 7.2 now. So Cameron Dance actually gained about 3 seconds with that pit stop run, even though they were pretty much dead even on the pit stop numbers. The difference, Cameron Dance actually overcut Mustanen.
Yeah, and also Mustanen also had a lot of traffic in front of him, as you just saw from that last set of curves. He had Robert there, he also had Winton there, and he had to get around both. That's going to slow him down a little bit. Whereas where Dance came out, he came out pretty much to a clean racetrack. I'm not sure at this point it's going to change the outcome of this race. It adds a little extra drama to it.
And for the most part, this race has kind of really settled into its paces, hasn't it? I mean, this is not uncommon to see in these types of, longer runs that we see. Oh boy, Giacometti really flirted with the tire barriers on the exit of 12, but these tighter road courses that are shorter as well, easy to get more spread out, not uncommon to see they just kind of settle into their paces here. And that's very much what we have so far seen here throughout the afternoon. There you see Mellis and Giacometti are nose to tail. It's really one of the only fights we got on the racetrack. If we pop out the intervals from driver to driver, you'll see no one's really in a battle right now, save for Well, I mean, this duo right here, and Grosher and Winton up the road to them as well.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. I'm kind of keeping an eye on the Giacometti and Mellis battle. It seems to be the closest one on the racetrack. But yeah, these cars again are not known for being road course cars. But you know, you got to when you have an IndyCar league, right? You got to throw some road courses in there, and you can't just ignore Portland being brand new. And you know, you got to put it on the schedule, and that's what they've done. And, you know, they're giving it a good shot. This is the first time these cars have raced here in the sim and also in this league. So everyone's kind of learning right now. And that's kind of contributing to kind of a more spread out look throughout the field.
So Mellis, Giacometti, Winton, and Grosher close as well. And in fact, Sam Winton has really been running down Robert Grosher. We could see a fight for position there kicking up before too long. In the meantime, right on board with the Giacometti here as he chases after the Bounty Hunter Double X, number 23 of Stefan Mellis. How long is it going to be before Giacometti decides to get a little bit more aggressive and go for the dive?
Only a couple places you can do it. This is the first one right here, going into one in chicane. The next place you could probably go for a bit of a dive. Ooh, well, he's going to have to. He's got a lot of wheel spin and slid through the exit of that chicane there. Could have sent it if he was close going into turn 4 there. And now the next place will be turn 7. But they re-profiled that out and made it a little bit of a wider exit area. I can give you a choice of multiple lines through there. And the only other place that he can really kind of send it to be at the end of this straight. But because of that little bobble he had in the chicane, he is falling back over the way. So he's going to have to work back, get that distance back that he lost.
You can hear how much he's kind of tiptoeing his way through turns 10 and 11 there as well. I mean, it is not a series of corners you want to be underestimating, and I think for very, very, very good reason. The battle has just dropped off between Grosher and Winton. I think Winton may have spun off track.
Yeah, he did. Right
Whoops.
In the festival corner areas, yep. Did a good job at keeping it off the wall and out of the tire barrier, get it back on the racetrack safely with a good rejoin.
So Stefan Mellis and Giacometti, they'll get involved with each other as well here, as it's now the lone fight on the racetrack. All of this while we are... Oh, hello!
Far off.
That is Wareham.
That is Wareham. Yeah, that's Wareham right there in the 9, 10, 11, 12 area. Very fast portion of the race course. And he's trying to get out of the way. Did a good job there. I think Thomas, our leader, has actually stretched his lead out a little bit. It was approaching 8 seconds at one point.
So all of this with Mustinen pulling away at the head of the field.
Still have at least one more stop for everybody in front of them in this race.
I'd imagine just the one, right? I mean, they were able to well push it past the mark they needed to for that first stint by a couple laps. They should be more than secure to just run the tanks out dry, fill them up, go to the end.
Yeah, I think everybody has one more stop. But the drama is a lot can happen on that one more stop. Speeding on pit road, speeding coming off of pit road, cold tires, spinning your wheels under cold tire conditions while trying to bring them up to temp. A lot can happen between now and the end of this race, and a lot of it's going to come around that last set of stops. So we'll be keeping our eyes open to that 48, though, out of 110, kind of getting near the midway point. But this has been Thomas from the get-go all the way to this point. He has really dominated this day.
And you just saw Zachary Wareham go off the road once more. And unfortunately, he got hit with the black flag for hitting that incident limit and took the toe from there, decided to call it quits.
Yeah, he kind of could turn this into an open test for himself if he wants to, but it's not going to be a very fun open test, so might be end of the day for Zach. But again, you mentioned that he's normally a stock car racer, and these are, I'm going to say this car is probably completely new to him. This is the legacy car. Not a lot of people race this car. And so for him to want to, see these on Green Flag TV, say, hey, I want to give him a shot to get behind the wheel and everything, that's pretty cool of him to do that. And maybe we see him in another race, maybe when we get to one of the ovals where he feels a little bit more comfortable. But I know the stock cars will be coming here later in their seasons, at least on the official side of things on iRacing. The NASCAR esports schedules will align, and we'll see some stock car races at Portland later this season or later this calendar year. So maybe that's kind of what he was preparing for.
Steph Mellis continued to play the defensive game. Giacometti got up to within a tenth of a second of him. The reason why we now see Giacometti a second back, well, Cesare Manzato arrived on scene, and, well, Northston Racing, not only are they teammates back there, but also the fact that, blue flags are mandatory. You have to abide by them, and so, well, no choice but to let him through, and that is costing him big time. I think now he's hoping that Mellis will have to do the same.
You're going to get a blue flag if you're if a faster leader or those on the lead lap come up to you by about a second and a half. They get within a second and a half window, you'll get that blue flag, and then you got to figure out a place that you can kind of duck out of the way and hide. That's what I call it, ducking and hiding. So you're not impeding the car behind you, that you're trying to get out of the way and let them on by. But there's not very many places here, Nolan, on Portland where you could duck and hide. It's kind of at the end of the front straight, that kind of end of the back straight. That's about it.
Well, and you saw there was a good opportunity for Mellis to pull aside, and in fact, you even saw Manzato looking for the inside, probably thought, hey, he's probably going to let me through here. It never happened, and I'm willing to bet it's because Mellis does not want to let him through, because right now, realistically, Manzato's the one car keeping Giacometti away from him.
Yeah. Even if he cracks the throttle just a little bit to let the faster car on by, it's going to lose him time to the car behind him, and that's for position. Do you blame the guy for not wanting to give up that spot?
Well, the problem as well is the fact that, the rules are clear. You have to obey the blue flags at some point. That, and Manzato's in a battle of his own. 2 cars up the road. That is Joshua Fortune, who Manzato was trying to get up to fight for a top 5. So Manzato's got the car going, hey, I'm trying to catch the guy in front of me here. I have a chance to get a top 5. You're holding me up.
The old catch-22. And ultimately, I guess it's going to be up to race control, because they do have live race control here on the CIS to say, hey, do it or you're getting a penalty.
I guess right now it has not gone over the line, right? Manzato technically has not really gotten close enough to have a realistic look, and Mellis hasn't been overly aggressively blocking him either. And there you go, he's going to be forced to pull aside here, and that is going to put Giacometti right within striking distance. Contact, I think, and the 2 go
very close
around.
But he slammed the door hard on Giacometti.
Little bit dicey on that one. Take a look back.
He heard on his radio clicker. He's like, okay, I'm clear.
Oh, no. Again, Hoffman is done. Hoffman has had a massive incident somewhere on the racetrack.
Get that. Well, turn 12. Coming off the fast corner there.
So he is going to be dropping down and out of the fight. Take a look back.
Ooh.
Oh, boy.
The front wheels caught. He got loose. He caught it back. The in-car should be pretty interesting on that one. You'll probably watch him. You'll watch his hands go one direction and then the other, and then the car will catch. See, caught and as he turned left, the car caught and then noses right into the wall. Good thing this is a sim, because if that was in a real-world race, that would have been a painful wreck.
Yeah, it's not a fun wall to hit there. I don't think an IndyCar has ever actually gone into that particular wall, have they? At least not a lot of times. I can
think of.
I don't doubt they've come close. So now Giacometti and Mellis, the battle reignites as we approach that halfway point. In racing action this afternoon, Giacometti with an attempt down to the inside. Couldn't get him, though, as we go through 7 and now to 8.
7's one of those extra pre-profile turns to make an extra passing zone here. Now he's in the draft down the backstretch. Gonna take a peek into the inside. Mellis not making it easy for him, getting through the final set of curves very quickly. Those last set of curves, if you watch an in-car camera, basically it's just like flicking the wrist. That's kind of what it is. You got to memorize it. It's timing.
They thought again for a dive down to the 1, but the problem is he just doesn't have really much of an answer for him. Got a great drive at a 2. Could have a lunge here down to the 4. He's going to go to the inside. Contact, and they're going to go around. They're both off.
Both go around, and he was wanting that position very badly. And the inside of 4, that is kind of a zone, but very opportunistic opportunity to pass.
And unfortunately, that has given Mellis a black flag as well as a result.
He's going to have to answer the call to pit road, at least a drive-through, right?
I believe so, yes.
And did you see who was right behind that battle? Our leader was right behind that.
Boy, that is a shame.
Now watch, right, one of these cars to start coming by here. And, well, okay, we cut away from the replay. But our leader kind of rolled right through that zone.
Well, Moosen's got a few seconds he could easily give up if he needed to ensure that he's doesn't get caught up in an incident. Oh, and Fortune's off the road.
He's reached P7 now. Andrew Wood, and getting ready to put him a lap down. In fact, he does.
Take a look at this here. This is Fortune catching a lap car with Andrew Aiken. Same corner we just saw Giacometti and Mellis go off, and well, same thing. It's pretty much the same deal.
He went to go hit the pedal, and the back end did a big twitch on him.
And now Andrew Aiken is off the road again, and with the black flag.
The black flag.
Yep.
The black flag, those with the incident limits now are starting to present themselves into the second half of this race. This just tells you how hard this course is and how hard it is to drive these cars at this course. This is not an easy race this afternoon.
Far from it. One of the most difficult tracks I think that we've realistically got on the schedule here. I mean, I think when we look at the road course, because obviously you can't really compare road course difficulty to oval course difficulty, I think the only one that's realistically more difficult than this is going to be Long Beach.
Maybe Mid-Ohio. Ohio, very
true.
Also short, not a lot of passing zones. Let's put that on there. But yeah, I think you're right. Long Beach, you find yourself bouncing off the walls, literally. If it doesn't drive you crazy, it drives you nuts driving-wise because you're in the concrete canyons the entire time.
I believe less than 12 cars finished the last Classic IndyCar Series race that we had at Long Beach. I'll try to get more on that from what we did last season. And of course, that championship the 10th anniversary season. That race was won by Willie Schwabauer, who started on pole. Only 4 cars finished on the lead lap, and only 9 finished the race in total out of the 21 that made the start. It was a brutal race. And point out as well, in that race, from all the cars that DNF'd out of that race, over half of them were before we were even 30 laps in.
Yeah, I mean, these admins of this series definitely appreciate history of IndyCar history, much like me. And this sounds like an old 80s era kart race at Long Beach, where just a handful of cars would be finishing there at the end. They weren't very long races, but the equipment back then was not as nearly as reliable as it is today. You're lucky if you see an engine blow every couple of races in IndyCar racing these days. They're pretty bulletproof. But then you would see engines grenade every week.
Cameron Dance just went off the road and nearly went into the turn 11 tire bundles. Take a ride on board. And look at how close this ends up getting here. So he's just going to run a bit wide on the way in, and then... My word. Hey, that is...
He could have even slipped a piece of paper in between his left front and the end of that wall there.
And that is a corner that we've seen quite a few Indy cars go off and into earlier on, making the same mistake that he just did. I'm sure he will be sweating bullets as a result from that one.
And that hole was really a result of kind of missing his turn in between I guess 10 and 11. There's a little bit of an access road there, and some drivers use that access road to kind of make their apex a little bit wider there. And he stayed in that zone a little bit too much, and then clipped the curb, and then by that point he missed his angle, the geometry to the next curb, and now he's already hitting the curb and kind of scooting off into the grass. And at that point, you just really don't want to turn your wheel. You want to keep it as straight as possible. And the best he could do was keep it as straight and just miss the end of that wall with the barrier there. And it's all from just missing your turn-in point by just a couple inches.
Well, we are past halfway point this afternoon, so we'll thank the folks that helped keep the lights on here for the Classic IndyCar Series. Founded in 1989, Pavement Recycling Systems first provided cold milling services to the Southern California market. Now, PRS has subsequently grown into the premier general engineering subcontractor for cold milling, soil stabilization, roller compacted concrete, and cold in-place asphalt recycling in California and Nevada, with a presence in Utah, Oregon, and Washington. In 2007, PRS added the highly regarded pavement preservation company, Pavement Coatings Company, adding pavement preservation services throughout California and specializing in the use of RAP aggregates via their reclaimed aggregates division. Both PRS and PCC are owned by PRS Holdings Incorporated and are proud to be 100% employee-owned. For more, visit pavementrecycling.com. Also, big sponsors on board for the 2025 campaign. VRS, the new title sponsor for the Classic IndyCar Series, the Virtual Racing School, long-time members within the iRacing community, and happy to have them all on board. And, of course, always happy to have Butt Kicker continuing to be on board with CIS, as they have for several seasons now. We would not be here were it not for those, for the Trinity, I guess you could say, at the Classic IndyCar Series.
I think Giacometti had a black flag, had to do a drive-through.
You are correct on that one. He did come down to pit road. He did not stop in the box. So took the drive-through. He has re-exited the racetrack, now down in 13th. And this means, well, it's time to fight it out with Stefan Mellis again.
Got to be feeling Groundhog Day at this point. I've been here before, haven't I?
And I'm sure Mellis is looking on behind, is like, all right, just don't do it again, and we'll call it square, I'm sure.
We're about 10 laps away for the next round of pit stops, give or take. Final pit stops. And Zotto, last car on the lead lap. Mastanen has lapped his way up to 5th position at the moment.
Oh, hello. One of the Vortex cars just went off the road. I believe that was Robert Groscher. That went off piste, and that was, well, that's going to let the battle for 12th through. And now Mellis has no drafting help in front of him.
Turns it into more of a one-on-one situation.
Oh boy, both cars go in a little bit hot. Giacometti more so,
and
and
a little bit there at 12. They were getting hot at the exit of that corner.
And of course, Giacometti in a little bit hotter than Mellis in front of him. Bit of target fixation right there. Because of course he's kind of going off of Mellis's line in front, right? So if Mellis is going to make a mistake, well, he's going to make the same mistake and more so because he's in his wake.
Common in iRacing, you follow the guy in front of you too exact. And the next thing that you know, they're in the wall. The next thing you know, you're in the wall.
You know, one place where that is extremely common to see, Darlington Raceway in the stock car scene. Oh, boy. Yep. I mean, I think you know what to talk about, right? That turn 2 wall. One car goes in there in a big pack. Guarantee you at least 3 of the same cars behind them are going to make the exact same mistake at the exact same line. Every single time.
Pretty excited that, here comes Giacometti to the inside of Mellis. Mellis gives him room. Pretty excited that next season, season 4 of 2025 in the IndyCar Oval Series, Darlington will be on the schedule. So we'll get to race the IR18s at Darlington. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, no!
And that is a nose job right there. That is a destroyed nose. That was a hard hit. And I think his day is done.
It's going to have to be. He's completely broken that right front suspension. Completely knocked the toe out on that thing. And, well, got a little bit too greedy for his own good. And I think the fact that Mellis left the door open pretty much sold him the dummy, right? And, I mean, left the door open again at 1. Baited him perfectly into the trap.
There's a lot to think about at this point. Specifically, you know you have a pit stop coming up. Oh, and then the next car hot into the zone had to take evasive action. But you knew that at some point both of you have to come to pit road, right? So maybe Giacometti could have made a decision to come to pit road within the next couple of laps and then try to overcut. Do the undercut on Mellis. Because we're kind of in that window. Or just kind of be patient and wait it out. But Mellis was running a pretty good race at that point and minimizing his mistakes.
How accurate do you reckon that face on that driver photo is right about now?
I'm going to say that the eyebrows might be a little bit more stern in a down position now.
But he's gotten a fresh front wing on the car, and he has not left the car yet, so I think he's going to kind of wait this out, see how long it takes for them to fix that right front suspension, if it's possible to get it fixed. Of course, the nose cone is not the concern, right? You can replace that very easily with only an extra 5 or 6 seconds in the box. It's that toe link that's going to be the big problem. Yeah, the wishbone.
The A-arms, all that stuff would have to be replaced in a real IndyCar race. Those aren't quick fixes.
As you see, just this really shows it, right? Just how out of alignment that right front is. Usually the front wheels are not always completely in alignment, but they're not supposed to look like that.
No. And then very easily the pit crew saying, there's your problem when he rolls into the spot.
I honestly, that pit crew member would not be in this plane of existence if I got told that after what just happened. Like, boy, you are playing with fire if you tell a driver that.
Well, there's your problem.
It's like that scene of John Wick. It was like, I don't know if you noticed, you got a crack in your windshield. Meanwhile, like, all the door panels have fallen off. The hood's all crumpled in. The windshield's got a baseball bat through it. Well, he's back out onto the racetrack, a minute 22 in the box, and he's going to make his way on out. So they did get the car repaired, although now he is effectively in a game of survival. He's got no one on his lap. He has taken the gamble that the drivers around him are going to crash out before the end of this race, and he can pick up another spot or two that way.
It's not a bad gamble, really. It's not a bad gamble. We've seen it happen to some of the sim racers with a ton of experience, as a Grosser ducks out of the way for our leader before going into turn 7. But we've seen it affect everybody pretty much equally here, except really our leaders. Now Cameron Dance flirted with disaster for a few seconds. And we have not seen anything impact Mustanen at all. He has himself a 10-second lead. Dance second, Egan third. And this race very much feels like the Indy GP for Egan. I don't think Ethan had a single battle the entire race at the Indy GP, other than maybe he's kind of in the opening laps, and then he spent the rest of the race in third spot, just hitting his marks and finishing out the race. And it looks like he's getting a little bit of that again today.
I'm sure he's not complaining about it.
No. But I mean, you want a little excitement, right? You don't want to, get yourself into false complacency, and then miss a braking zone, and then make an unforced error just because you were kind of lacking focus. So I think it's even more hard when you're racing by yourself, because all you're doing is hitting the marks and just clicking the laps off. All the while, you're not racing for a position in front of you. You're not even racing to hold off someone behind you. You're just kind of racing to bring the car home.
Thomas Mustonen, as we take a look at the current updated championship standings on the top right of your screen, you can see Mustonen will have jumped Cameron Dance by 9 points. They are then 25 clear of Simmons. Wilson, no change. Big changes, really. Ethan Egan up 2 right now. Johnny Gear down 2. Now, that is, of course, live as of right now, and factoring in drop weeks as well. So this is, of course, that could very well still change by the end of this race.
And let's not forget, before the race at Milwaukee, the last 2 races that we had going into Milwaukee were road courses. We went to Interlagos, and then we did the Indy GP, and those were both won by Thomas Mustonen. I don't think Thomas wasn't in the lineup at Milwaukee. I don't think. So in races that he's been in, I don't see him there. He chose not to race at Milwaukee. So Mustonen, basically in the last 3 races that he's been racing in, 2 wins and looking like another win. Not to jinx him. I know I just gave him the broadcaster's jinx there, but
I wasn't going to say it. It was like, all right, so who's going to do the wood knocking? Is it going to be you or is it going to be me?
There we go.
The broadcaster's jinx has been, it's been extreme this last month or so. I've jinxed races I'm not even commentating in. That's how bad it has gotten.
Yeah, I heard that story. Yeah, that's some bad juju there.
Well, I mean, so it was a case of what happened, right? So, we were, Fenachine and I, we were prepping for a beer league race. And, we were watching one of the PSR races while we were just waiting for the timer to run out, effectively. And we were mentioning, these guys are having a really good early run so far based on the track. 2 laps later, they had a caution. It was like, oh my God, I can't. I don't know how, you can't script that.
In front of our leader, Mellis, and not sure who around Mellis, Manzato?
Maybe. It is Manzato.
Yeah, right in front of our leader. Okay, so he decided just to let the car go by, and now it's right in front of our leader there.
Oh, Well, Flight was driving slowly, so, I mean, that shows just how much he was getting off the pace. Just trying to let him through. Really, no. I like. Is it bad if I kind of find it a little bit amusing with all the wide berths we're taking because of all the close calls he's having with Giacometti? It's like, I'm not taking any chances with this. I mean, he's got 5 seconds up to Stum. I mean, I guess technically if he wants to push a bit harder, he could catch Franz Josef Stum in that Aero X number 34 that's just up the road. There is that number 34 entry. And then right at the tail of the shot there, that is how close Mellis is.
Everyone giving everyone a little bit of a wide berth, I think, is a result of kind of growing pains for this season. The net code has been awful for these cars all season long, so I think I want to give everyone a little bit of a wider berth. I think we got pit stops coming up here soon. Mustanen went 37 laps on his first stint. He is now going to click off lap 36 now.
We are at that point. Remember,
car wide in the chicane, yeah.
That is Manzato. So that is Mustanen getting around Manzato. And I want to point out as well, 37 laps. We are now in the margin where if you pit now, you can go to the end. You are safe on fuel. So fuel no longer a question.
Yeah, more than likely that's the case. But a lot can still go wrong in that window there. You can speed coming to pit road. You can speed coming off of pit road. You can miss your marks. You can spin your tires when they're cold, when you're bringing them up the temperature on the out lap. A lot can still go wrong here in the next couple of laps, so don't go anywhere.
But Velasco there for Franz Josef Stum, so mistakes still not something that you're immune from, and Mustanen going to stay out for one more. Oh, someone's just had a moment. Just heard tire smoke somewhere on the racetrack. It's squealing. Not sure who, what, where, or how, but maybe it might have been a big locker. I just heard like a really loud tire squeal at some point off camera somewhere. Maybe Andrew Aitken?
Not sure.
A mystery, then.
Looking. I saw a couple of off tracks, but nothing. Huh. So the last 4 cars on the lead lap are the top 4. And the Mustanen is 10 seconds away from getting Simmons.
As well as that, Mellis has run down Franz Josef Stum these last few laps. I mean, he has been steadily reeling him in more and more and more. I mean, this is actually going to become a real concern for Stum here in just a moment. Take a look at the last 3 laps in comparison. Look at how quickly Mellis has been catching. I think Stum's got a problem.
Now we've seen Stum off. What we don't know is what damage we can't see, right? So, I mean, those wings look right. The rear wing looks right. The front wing looks right. And he's coming to pit road here. Both of them are coming to pit road. Wow. He locked him up. I thought we were going to see a car pile into the back of the other one, but Mellis on the ball there. And right behind him is Cameron Dance. So Cameron is going to try a bit of an undercut here, but it doesn't help when he had 2 slower cars right in front of him.
Boy, Mellis really attacking pit engine. That's going to help him big time. And in fact, he's going to jump up at the pit stops as a result of that. Beautiful entry there for Stefan Mellis.
Good job.
Now that's how you get through an overtake done without having to do it on the racetrack.
So no undertake or undercut, excuse me, opportunity for Cameron Dance because Mustanen was on pit road when Dance came in as well. So the only one that is staying out longer here is Ethan Hagen, getting credit for another lap led, a little extra TV time. Normally you'd think the car that's in third place would get a lot of TV time, but there's been nothing, like I said, there's been nothing going on around Ethan. He's been an island of himself this entire race, pretty much.
You see Manzano into pit road, Fortune into pit road as well. I cannot believe that worked. I mean, Mellis got him on the entry, got him on the exit, and he kind of got Stum got double whammed on the exit, because the reason why he was able to open up that gap so early is because right behind Stum was Cameron Dance, so Stum had to pull aside and yield to blue flags. That was quite literally perfectly executed in every sense of the word.
Unfortunately, it was only for 12th spot, but it was still pretty good. Now he's got to be asking himself, though, if a couple of mistakes here and there I didn't make, where would I be in this field? And I got to believe the way that we've seen him drive today and perform, he would be up inside the top 10 fairly comfortably. So Ethan Hagen makes the turn down the pit road for his stop. Yeah, he does. This will be his last scheduled stop.
And I believe these are, in fact, the last drivers that we were waiting on to come down to pit road. As everyone else now, it's going to be good to go to the end. Quick stop for Wood, 10.8 in the box. Sam Winton is in for his last stop as well. And so that is it then. Pit stop window is complete this afternoon.
Yep. Scheduled stops at the least are complete for this afternoon. Any other stops between now and the end, they would be classified as unscheduled, and something is not right if that happens.
Thomas Booston continues to lead the way here this afternoon from the Portland International Raceway. We're going to take ourselves a quick step back. When we return, it's more Race National Green Flag TV. Stay with us.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Oregon and the Portland International Raceway, where we are coming up to 24 laps to go. A couple things happened underneath that latest yellow flag. The first of those being Sam Winton having a little bit of a spin off the road. This looks to have been down at turn number 1. Oh, a bit of a snap of the curbing, and it just goes way off the track. And then Giacometti being given a black flag as a result of this big snap sideways,
death twitch right there. Wow.
Yeah, that puts him over the incident limit. And then, of course, McBean, just a little ways in front of your race leaders, or some of your race leaders, having this moment. Coming out of turn 3, and he has gone into the wall. So that takes us back to...
The other thing mentally, though, when these happen, I mean, you've spent all race long to get within sight of the finish, and now you're 24 laps away from finishing this race, and then that's when you have the mistakes. You just at some point, you're just like, I just want to get this thing home.
I feel that. I really do. Right? I mean, and I think he's going to look to do just that. So, I mean, there's still a long way to go. If you are just tuning in...
Go ahead.
If you are just tuning in, my name is Lola Ramble alongside Gary Godsill. We've been bringing you all the action so far this afternoon. It's been a tame race, all things considered, this afternoon. You know, not too much. I think the only really big controversy would be the Mellis v. Giacometti incident down in turn 4, about 20, 30 laps ago, where the two of them came together. Mellis got a black flag as a result of that, and both cars ended up getting spun around. But other than that, it's been a quiet day.
Literally, for the top 3, for the most part, it's been a snoozer. There's been a couple of close calls, and I say close-ish calls by the leaders. They just kind of run into a zone where there's a local yellow waving, but I don't think the top 3 have encountered any type of competition at all since at least right before the first round of pit stops. That has been how quiet those guys have been for them. So very boring. I'm going to say when we have our interviews with the top 3, they're going to probably say to a man that it probably was a boring race. At times, they probably had their hands full with the way these cars, kind of drive like pigs on road courses. But I got to imagine, though, that they're just like, okay, another lap, hit your marks. Another lap, hit your marks. Another lap, hit your marks. 10 to go, that type of thing.
Well, the one battle that's kind of showing some minor fluctuations here, Andrew Wood and Joshua Fortune. The two of them have been kind of trading back and forth on the lap time markers the last little while. They are right now separated by 3 seconds. You can see overall, looks like Fortune is losing time up to Wood. Wood's lap time is hovering right around the high 59s, low 1 minute mark. Fortune was quicker on 86, but outside of that, hasn't been able to do much.
One of the other reasons, being a child of the 80s, I thought this race was cool. And being that I wasn't from, didn't have family in the Portland area at the time. You just saw the name of the race. It was the G.I. Joe's 200. I thought that was the coolest thing, being a G.I. Joe fan in the 80s, that they're going to name a race after your favorite toy, right? And you find out, though, that G.I. Joe's was actually a name of a camping and hunting outfitter. Kind of a chain of stores in the Portland area, and that's how they became the sponsor to this race, is that they were kind of a big chain brand area. And I think they later got picked up by maybe Galleons, and then later purchased by Dick's Sporting Goods. So I think that whole lineage of stores is owned by Dick's now. But yeah, I thought it was cool in the mid-'80s, the G.I. Joe's 200. Oh, that's really cool. Oh, it's a sporting goods store. Okay,
not
the toy.
Hey, aren't there like copyright laws or trademark laws or something like that in place for stuff like that, or is this different domain or something like that?
It's G.I. Joe's, so apostrophe S versus G.I. Joe, which was the comic and toy.
So basically they're going off of people's confusion of branding.
Maybe, I don't know. I used to do a G.I. Joe podcast back in the day. And I knew some people that worked back at Hasbro in the 80s. I should probably ask them, what did you think of when you saw that there was a G.I. Joe's, camping store sponsoring an IndyCar race? And they probably never heard of it, or if they did, it didn't really, cross their... Because today, IP is much more important, kind of what it was back in the day,
Yeah.
Especially with the internet and everything, kind of making things so much closer to home.
Oh boy, a bit of a lockup there for McBean, and that has allowed Giacometti to close right to the tail end. So Giacometti looking like he might be trying to go for a spot here. We know
this is for a position.
It is as well. So That is for 13th as Giacometti makes the pass on Big B, but he's going to overshoot, and that might give him a slowdown.
He got it. He had to get an X for that.
Oh, definitely. No doubt about it.
For sure.
I'm shocked he didn't get a slowdown, though. I mean, that was all four wheels.
Actually, I'm gonna agree with you there. I'm kind of surprised he didn't get one.
But boy, what a ride.
Now, folks, this is how it's been this second half of this race. This has not been a very exciting second half of this race. So we're watching a battle for 13th with 2 cars that are 5 laps down. That's what we're trying to do for you at home.
And you see that pass being made, and then, ooh, boy. I mean, like you say, as you would call it, right, that is a death twitch coming down into turn 9, and somehow it works out just fine for Cometti.
Wow.
The fact he managed to pull that up is pretty insane in and of itself.
And we got a leader coming up now to P4 on the racetrack, Logan Simmons. So he's going to put down Logan Simmons down here a lap very shortly.
Still not much in the way of changes for the overall championship standings in the mix of all of this as well, which again, no surprises on that front. I don't think anybody's really too shocked about that based on how little position change there's been up at the front of the field here ever since we managed to check in. What we could do, we don't have a graphic for it, but we can kind of talk about the team's championship standings, because it's been a bit of a battle there for the team's championship as well. Right now, of course, Team Watson Racing and Iconic Motorsports, the 2 heavy hitters in that battle for the team's championship, they are sitting 1 and 2, separated by 26 points. 31 back from Iconic is going to be Power Slide Team Chimera, with Airwex hanging on to 4th. The Vortex Sim Racing just got around Orbit Drop Bear Motorsports for the number 5 spot as well. By the way, I think it's a testament to Cameron Dance's abilities. He is the only car, remember, running for the Orbit Drop Bear Motorsports crew, and yet he is running 6th ahead of some teams like North Sim Racing, Usagi, PDS, and more, who have 2 or more drivers on the field. That shows just how consistent he's been with scoring good points this season.
I think Thomas right now, like I said at the beginning of this race, it's his race to lose. I think he's going to get the win today unless something changes. But I think Team Watson Racing is going to actually pull away in the team championship. It's the top 2 cars, right? That's what you get credit for, get the points for in the team championship. So right now they have Team Watson cars in 3rd and 4th. And if something happens to Dance, then they get 2 cars on the podium. So getting points for a 3rd and 4th car off in front of the leader, that is Sturm. But it could turn into a good day for Team Watson Racing, even though they're looking at 3rd and 4th actually on the racetrack.
And this is going to happen to Franz Josef Sturm, as he is going to go through 9, through 10, and just lost it.
Yep. Yeah.
But now this is the big thing to remember as well, and I'm going to real quickly pull up the point structure as well. Remember, it's not, 43, 42, 41, and so on like it is in the stock car scene. 50 points for the leaders, and then, 35 and 32. So, yeah, they're going to score more than Mustinen, but it's not going to be by much. Mustinen scores 50 points by himself. And they don't forget as well, he's got other iconic teammates still in the race as well that can help to add to that total. So they might pull away, but it's not going to be by a whole lot.
No.
Actually, how far back is the next iconic motorsports driver? Looking through... Is he the only one out there with the team?
I think it is.
No, VJO. Was out there with the team. He has crashed out of the race, so he's all the way back in 19th.
Oh, it would be they would get the points from 1st and 19th.
And 19th place, unlike scoring, up to the 35, they only scored 12. So that'd be 62 points in the team's championship for Logan Simmons. 62, quick math here, versus 67, I want to say. So, yeah, only a 5-point increase. So even with that, that's how valuable it is to get a race win, not just for the driver's championship, but for the team's championship as well.
It's a small win, small battle win in the current war for the season, getting a little bit more of a cushion. 5 points is still 5 points. I'm sure they'll take it. And they're looking forward. Of course, the Team Watson guys are definitely going to be looking forward to the ovals coming up. We're going to get one more oval before taking the summer break off, and then we're going to start the second half of the season with 2 high-speed ovals right away that they're going to be probably pretty primed to want to do well in. And then we got two of the last 3 races of the season are big super speedways at Fontana and Indianapolis. So they're primed for the second half of the season. If they could get through this first half of the season with a lead of the points, I think the Team Watson guys are going to put themselves in a good position, because we're only looking at the second half of the season, Mid-Ohio, Long Beach, and Sebring as the only road courses, whereas on the oval side, we can Kentucky, Chicagoland, Auto Club, and Indianapolis. We get 4 ovals versus 3 road courses.
Let's watch the battle for 14th picking up as well between Andrew Aiken and Alexander McBean. I got to agree. I cannot wait for those mile and a half. We kind of got robbed of mile and a half races last season. We only actually had one. It was at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. All the other tracks were, the big dogs like Pocono, Michigan, which we're at again for Pocono and Auto Club this season. But other than that, it was a bunch of 1 mile ovals, right? You had New Hampshire Motor Speedway. I forget what the other oval was, but there was not too many in the way of these intermediate ovals, which is where these cars thrive. I cannot wait to see how it's gonna pan out. I mean, those races are gonna be awesome to watch.
Yeah, the pedigree of these cars are on the mile and a half intermediates. And historically, you go back and watch a lot of those past IndyCar races that you can find them on YouTube. If it's on a mile and a half track, you can pretty much guarantee it's going to be a photo finish.
So this fight for 14th as we kind of fluctuate back and forth. I mean, look at the deltas, right? Up 2 tenths, down 2 tenths, up 3 tenths. Might be down 3 tenths. I mean, McBean has caught Aiken, but he just, as we've seen time and time again today, he just can't get through.
He's going to get a run here on the outside of 7. Not the place to be, but he's going to... Aiken just runs him wide. And then he loses a bunch of track position because Wilson comes on through.
And McBean's got a penalty. That gave him a black flag.
Another black flag, another visit to pit road. I thought he could have probably been patient and just maybe made the pass down the backstretch. That's just me.
This is the look on board with McBean. Trying to go around the outside. I mean, Aiken locks up and kind of drives right into the side of as well. He left plenty of space there.
Three cars left on the lead lap, and I think at this rate, I think that's what we'll end up with. I think we will end up with 3 cars on the lead lap. I think it'll be Mustanen, Dance, and Egan.
Right about tracks. As Mustanen still has nearly half a lap he'd have to run down if he wanted to catch up to Ethan Egan. So not quite going to get to that mark either. But hey, all drivers still on the podium. I'm sure they'll take that as a win. I do want to point out, Cameron Dance still has not allowed for Moosen to really pull that far away, right? I mean, 7.7 now. That gap has never been more than 10 all day long, which again, begs me to wonder, where was that pace in the opening half when Moosen was pulling away?
Okay, so putting in the IndyCar frame of mind, is Dance really running down Mustanen, or is Mustanen just taking things easy and allowing Dance to run him down? That's kind of the school of thought here in IndyCar. Is Mustanen just kind of taking things easy and Dance is keeping the pace up, just trying to push. I think it might be a little bit of that type of situation. Mustanen doesn't really have a reason to push. So I think he's just taking things nice and easy. As long as he doesn't throw his timing off. That's the thing. When you start throwing your timing off, that's when you miss your braking zone, and that's when you overshoot, and that's when you make mistakes, and you don't want to do that. But as long as he's not doing that and he's just taking things nice and easy, wanting to get to the end, get through these last 9 laps, make them work like clockwork, that's very well what Mustanen could be doing.
Andrew Aitken with the black flag now, and it is for this, so yet more drivers being caught out by that incident limit. Turn 9, and clips the grass on the way in, and that's going to do it. So, well, off-track 1X, but hey, it's that one that'll still be more than enough to put you over.
And that allows McBean to go by and get that position back. So the battle for 14th and 15th rages on with 2 cars that are 7 laps down.
What do you think? A little bit of karma kind of coming into play there?
Maybe. Alexander probably in this car going, yeah, serves you right.
Yeah, I'm sure he's grinning ear to ear right now with that. I mean, he wasn't in a battle anyway with the Giacometti even before that, right? It was always going to be between Aitken and McBean. Problem is McBean's got to slow up to let Cesare Manzato through rather than push as hard as he possibly can to try to run down Andrew Aitken. Oh, he doesn't have to, sorry, because Aitken is already, he's already by him. My mistake. Yeah. I thought he had yet to pass him.
And Aitken's actually out of the car, so I think he is contemplating retirement there.
About 6.5 to go.
2 of the closest finishes. And it's hard to believe because we're looking at a race that's been dominated by a single driver. He is, I think we might be looking at a Grand Slam here, by the way. No, he has not led every single lap. He has not. But he does have the purple lap. He's probably going to win the race. He did get to sit on the pole, so he's going to get 3 jewels of the Grand Slam there. But in IndyCar history, 2 of its closest ever finishes on a road course happened here. Hard to believe, kind of with the racing that we're seeing right now, that it can generate close finishes like that. But yeah, the finish by Andretti over Andretti on Father's Day in '86 was among, I think, the closest road course race until I have to look it up. I want to say it was '97 back here at Portland. And it was it was '97, Mark Blundell. It was a 3-way battle to the checkered flag under mixed rain conditions. Gilles de Ferran took the white flag. He had rain tires on, but the track was quickly drying, and behind him was Blundell and Raul Boesel. This is the closest that Raul ever got to probably getting his lone IndyCar maiden win. They were on slicks, and they ran down de Ferran in the closing laps, and they crossed the line 3 abreast for the closest 1-2-3 finish ever on a road course. So if you're looking for some extra things to do this Father's Day after this, queue up those races for sure on YouTube. Queue up the 97 Portland race, and then queue up the 86 Budweiser G.I. Joe's 200. And of course, don't forget tonight if you're an IndyCar fan. I don't know what green flag has later for tonight for broadcast, but later tonight, if you're an IndyCar fan, 8 p.m. Eastern time over on Fox on the big channel in prime time. The IndyCar series will be at Gateway tonight.
You know, it's not going to be the only IndyCar series at Gateway as well. The Global IndyCar Challenge swinging out to the Worldwide Technology Raceway as well this coming Wednesday on Green Flag TV. That'll be at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Also running the Dollar IR18s as well. And I believe, didn't they release the new hybrid system with the new build as well?
No, the hybrid has not come out yet. We got a little bit of a physics upgrade as well as an aero patch and a visual graphics patch. So when you cut to your in-car cameras now for the IR18s, you'll see a new steering wheel. It will be a new engine sound. It sounds great. There's some slight graphics updates they made to the outside of the car that make the car, really, really look good. So I'm looking forward to seeing that on your streams. But the aero updates are the biggest thing, allowing for dual plane wings on the rear wing, like for ovals. If you want to go for single plane, dual plane, you could do that. Make some changes that will make some of the oval racing a little bit better. Gateway kind of turned into a little bit of a pack race for the IIS on Saturday for us, which was interesting. That looked like a lot of fun, but I think the big race that everyone's looking forward to with the aero update is going to be Nashville Super Speedway. These cars are going to race a lot better at Nashville Super Speedway. We don't have the package yet for the hybrid. We're still looking forward to that. I think we're going to get that for the Season 4 update. Fingers crossed.
Coming up to 2 laps to go this time by for Thomas Buchanan, and the Finnish native has been on a tear this afternoon, as he has been all season long. It would not be the first race that he has had complete domination in this season. He has done the same at Interlagos. He did the same at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And is looking to do it again in Portland to take win number 3 of the season. And in both those races as well, just like tonight, he did it from pole.
Winning the last 3 road course races definitely is a bit of a statement, especially coming into the mid-season break after Richmond, which we will see in about 2 weeks. We'll go back to the oval at Richmond, and then we will have 6 weeks off for summer.
Working down the back straightaway, right in front of him, I believe that is Giacometti.
It is.
So Giacometti might go down 7 laps in this one, but he'll come out of that final corner, take the white flag. 1 lap to go for Thomas Mustonen.
And just need to hit your marks. Likes to cut that corner going into turn 1 there. That does disrupt the car. He's done a good job at handling it through there. Now into the festival curves. A lot of people will be sitting there on race day for real in their picnic areas watching this race, then launching down into the last turn here, reprofiled turn 7. And then a launching off this little bit of a turn here, 8, and then now the backstretch.
Going to work his way through that back straightaway for the final time for Thomas Mustonen. Just like in Indiana, just like in Brazil, complete domination this afternoon. Mustonen off the final corner, and Thomas Mustonen with win number 3 on the championship. He'll retake the points lead and look to keep Icona Motorsports still in the fight for the team's championship.
107 of 110 laps were led by this guy today. Talk about domination. 3 laps short of getting, well, looks like...
How about that? Cameron Dance stole the fastest lap of the buzzer.
There he did. What a 58.8.
Holy cow. That is, I think... I mean, that's a good way for Dance to keep in the fight, right? That 1 bonus point could be critical, and that could put him within 3 of the championship.
Every point matters in this championship. You'll see when we get to the end of this season how close it's going to be by just between a handful of drivers, and that might play a critical role at the going into the final race of the season in Indianapolis.
Well, the last few drivers still making their way across the line, but at this point it is known where everybody's going to be closing things out at the end of the day. So we'll take a rundown of your official post-race results here this afternoon. Thomas Mustonen wins by 9 over Cameron Dance, who took that fastest lap of the race away from him right at the tail end. Ethan Hagan will be the last car to finish on the lead lap in 3rd. From there, it's Logan Simmons in 4th, Cesare Manzano in 5th, Andrew Wood in 6th, Joshua Fortune in his first ever CIS start. Not a bad day at the office as he'll finish in the top 10. Jamie Wilson, Sam Winton, and Robert Grosjean then pulls out the top 10 drivers this afternoon.
Next page here at the end, Stefan Millis. We talked about him an awful lot. A lot of battles in the mid-pack that we paid attention to. Got a lot of TV time. Finishes 11th. Sturm at 12th. Giacometti 13th. McBean 14th. Aiken 15th. Jan Hoffman 16th. The Wareham 17th. Lucas Santos 18th. BJO, not a race he really wanted to have, but comes home 19th. And Barnicow in 20th.
For there, it is Kinder in 20th as Barnicow finished back in 21st. Julian Altena will take it home in 22nd. Then it's Rafael Rodriguez in 23rd alongside Johnny Garrett to close out a 24-car field this afternoon. There was also, of course, Matthias Ziegler and Marcovini, who did not make the start of racing action tonight. So we'll look to give a chit-chat here to all the drivers that come home at the end of this one, and we'll, of course, look to pick it up first and foremost with potentially Thomas Boosted in here this afternoon, and in fact, doesn't look like Boosted is going to be able to chat to us this afternoon, at least not for now. So instead we'll kick things off here with Cameron Dance, the Orbit Drop Air Motorsports driver, coming home number 2 this afternoon. But, well, Cam, small consolation prize. You stole the fastest lap away from Boosted with that final lap drive.
Yeah, well, the car was really, really quick. We went in a different direction of setup this week, just trying to try some things and see if we can maybe close that gap down to Tuomas, and seemed to work, but at the same time I kept on skill issuing in a few cases and getting caught up with lap traffic as well, which didn't help. So yeah, a little bit unfortunate, but at the same time it's good to know that we've made progress as far as setup goes and that we've closed the gap. So looking forward to trying it again and potentially make a small little tweaks to make it even better.
I know you were really kind of hoping to get the drop on Moosen for the championship last week at the Milwaukee Mile, of course. Didn't go your way as you found yourself kind of down and out of the fight. How did that alter the mindset going into today's race on trying to preserve what little lead you had?
It was quite disheartening, to be honest, to end up DNFing on the 1 week that I probably needed to win the race or finish at least well decent. But no, it was interesting because the fact I know we had pace in Milwaukee and obviously Portland, new track, new everything. So it was like, well, this is going to be interesting to see what happens. I wasn't even sure where I was going to be. I thought it was going to be actually a lot slower than I was with the fact I didn't get a lot of practice in. So it ended up in the end being quite nice and good in the end, but yeah, definitely could have gone the other way.
Well, one race before the summer break, and of course be at the action track. Richmond Raceway, often dubbed the sister track to the Iowa Speedway, where the Indycars, of course, race in the real world. Richmond, though, different animal altogether. What's going to be in store for one of our only short oval races of the season?
Not 100% sure. I know we didn't do too bad last time we went there, which was quite some time ago now. But yeah, looking forward to it. I know we were reasonable. We weren't like overly quick compared to the likes of who was in front of us at the finish line. But yeah, looking forward to it and seeing what we can possibly do. There's probably going to be a little bit of setup tweaking that I'm going to have to do to get it a bit quicker than what these iconic guys are doing. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
All right, we'll wish you the best of luck when we go racing once again. Congratulations on taking number 2, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, cheers, boys.
Cameron Dance comes on second this afternoon, and then we'll bring up Ethan Agan, the driver that comes on in third in the last car on the lead lap. He is standing by with Gary Godso.
Just another very typical Ethan type race today. You did start second, you finished third, you lost 1 spot. However, much like the Indy GP, you got out of that first stint, get into the second and third stint of the race, and it was pretty lonely out there. Talk about your race, being that you really weren't racing anybody but yourself for pretty much 3/4 of this thing.
Yeah, even though I didn't really have any competition after the first stint, the race was just rough in general. Like, I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of grip, but it's just the car is just like so heavy. And you got to put so much force into the wheel, it feels like. And because right now my thumb on my right hand is like extremely dead. But yeah, I mean, just another lonely race for me. Like, I like to be more of the front, more, but I don't know. 2 months of camera just that good, and just need to stick with it and just hope for the best.
when you get into those stages of the race when it's just you out there kind of racing yourself. I think I asked you a very similar question at Indianapolis. I mean, how hard is it to lose that focus and then all of a sudden you're missing a braking zone and sliding off into the grass? It had to be lonely out there, but at the same time, it also had to be kind of a bit of a danger zone where you're like, I can't lose my focus.
Yeah, it's pretty hard. I mean, like, even though I spun at one point in the race, and like it takes a lot of confidence out of you, so you're trying to get that back. And even when you're like just by yourself most of the time, you just got to keep that confidence in and just run your pace. Just even though like you're trying your best to catch up, all you just got to do is just focus on yourself. If you just don't focus, you're just going to mess up. So that's what I just try to do, and got third place, and we'll just take it.
2 weeks, we go back to the ovals, a place you also run pretty well as, in addition to kind of being pretty darn good on the road courses. But now kind of a very odd oval, at least when it comes to IndyCar racing. We don't ever race anything smaller than what we're going to race at Michigan. And it's a racetrack that might race well on the stock cars, but it can be a little difficult in the Indy cars, especially with the way the banking falls off into it. Just kind of want to lead you right into the wall. What do you got planned for racing at Richmond at night here in 2 weeks, being that that's getting ready to go into the 6-week summer break, and then now you're in the thick of it in the points?
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty good. I mean, Richmond had, not just me, but my whole team in general, we've been pretty good at Richmond with the setup that we built. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, being honest, I think the ovals are pretty much the only opportunity to beat 2 miles of Cameron now these days. But it's you also need just a bit of luck on ovals, since you never know what could happen. Like, there's like a wreck in front of you, or the car is going to step out a certain part. But I think I definitely got a lot of confidence heading into Richmond in 2 weeks, and hopefully I can get back to victory lane.
Shout outs, friends, family, sponsors. Anyone who want to say hi to you before we let you go?
Yeah, just thank my family, thank everyone on Team Watson Racing, and happy Father's Day to my dad.
Well, Ethan Hagan giving a good Father's Day present to Dad by finishing third today. We send it back to Nolan with maybe another interview.
And it is going to be one Logan Simmons this afternoon, coming home in the number 4 spot here this afternoon at the tail end of the afternoon as well. So in lieu of being able to talk to Thomas Bouston, we'll talk to Logan Simmons instead here. It's another Team Watson driver, of course, Logan. And while you may not have finished on the lead lap, it's 3rd and 4th. So good results all the same in the team's championship for you.
Yeah, no, good for the teams. It's good for the actual points, considering that these are definitely not my strong suit, like, at all. So, like, we get 4th here, and then we got 3 ovals coming up. So who knows? Who knows what could happen?
Well, of course, it's looking like it's going to be between you guys and Iconic Motorsports for the championship. Of course, Iconic is still remaining tight in the battle here. I believe the gap will extend to about 33 points, favor to Team Watson, of course. Is there any races, though, coming on up where Iconic may prove to be a bit more of a threat than others?
I mean, we had the same setups, so it'd be interesting to see how that'll play out. But I mean, there definitely could be. I mean, Tomas could definitely get some wins on the ovals. Vesa on some short ovals probably has good shots. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, we hope that we stay in the lead. So.
And well, it's even looking like you're still going to be well in the fight for the race, for the overall championship as well, as you sit within 16 of Dance, 26 up to the race leaders. Richmond Raceway just around the corner, only 2 weeks away. What's the 3/4 of a mile short track of Virginia going to hold for you?
Well, let's go 3 for 3. That's what it should be. It'd be great. I mean, if we can go 3 for 3, that puts me right back in that puts me in 2nd at least. So I mean, that'd be great to go 3 for 3 and be a hell of a way to start a season that I've never had like this. So hopefully that's what happens.
Well, we wish you the best of luck next week, 2 weeks, sorry. Congratulations on finishing in number 4, and we'll see you next time in Richmond.
y'all have a good one.
Logan Simmons, of course, coming home number 4 this afternoon. And while that's going to do it for the interviews this afternoon, we'll get the chance, of course, to take a quick look in and check in on how the championship standings are looking after that one. As right now, it is Thomas Mustonen who is still on top of the points boards. Ahead of Cameron Dance. Logan Simmons is still very much in the mix as well. So, it's one of those championships that's getting to be there more and more aggressive as the season goes along. And it's not going to be long before we see guys starting to lock horns even more, especially once we get out of that summer break.
Yeah, and especially with the second half of the season being more ovals, and certainly all intermediates are better in terms of ovals the second half of the season. There's going to be some people that like to stretch their legs out on those longer ovals, and they're going to make themselves heard. I think anybody kind of in the top 8 or so, top 9 in points, definitely have themselves a solid shot. But let's get to let's get to Richmond first, and then sit through this next 6 weeks, allow people to rest a little bit, and then really see what happens. But Logan definitely is showing, not Logan, Thomas is showing that he is the road king for this season, and he is probably circling on his calendar now the second half of the season when we have Sebring, we have Long Beach, and we have Mid-Ohio, and he's going to circle those on his as possibly must-wins, as we've really seen, certainly in the last 2, but 3 road course races, he's been the winner. And really with Indy in here, not a soul touched him. Not a soul. So he's got to be very, very much salivating, wet in the mouth. Let's say that. Okay?
Salivating. There you go.
There we go. That he's got these road courses coming up, because he'll want to definitely capitalize on those. Where he hasn't been is so good on the ovals. If he could capitalize on those road course races, even with this lead going into the break, that little bit of a buffer is going to pay dividends. So he's going to want to push very hard for those next. But I'm looking very forward to Richmond. There's a very small but fast history of IndyCar at Richmond. We'll talk about it when we get there. But Richmond's next in 2 weeks. Again, always good to be here. We had a great showing. Another 25 cars showed up tonight. The league's doing well. Props to the admins, and happy Father's Day to everybody.
Of course, before we get to the racing action in 2 weeks, there's plenty to come on up for the season as a whole. And, of course, we'll look first into what we can expect to see over the next week here on Green Flag TV. Tomorrow night, the High Tide Race on the Garden Premier Series is out at Las Vegas Motor Speedway to go to America's gambling capital. Nothing yet on Tuesdays. As Ole Miss about half a month away still from next season's season opener. A triple header to make up for it, though, on Wednesday. The Global IndyCar Challenge swings to Louisville, where they'll be racing down to the Worldwide Technology Raceway. From there, it is a doubleheader. The PSR Sim Cams Expo Truck Series kicks off their second season at the Pocono Raceway. And where one season begins, another draws to a close. So the Beer League will have their season finale at Brands Hatch. Meanwhile, the Average Joe's Sim Racing League will have race number 5 for the Alan Ray Thomas Memorial at the Bristol Motor Speedway. And alongside them, it'll be the Bolt Racing League Lightning Series for race number 3 at the Richmond Raceway on Friday night. Saturdays will then hold the SRA NASCAR Classic Series for race 8 at Phoenix. And then there'll be more action for the Blazing Pedals ARCA Series alongside ASRL. And if you want to find out more about who we are, what we got for you, check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. My name is Will Ramble alongside Gary Godso. We'll see you in 2 weeks in Richmond.